Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard, and today we're diving deep into the shadows of the DC Multiverse, a place where the Dark Knight takes on countless faces, backstories, and destinies. That's right, we're going to talk about 10 of the greatest alternate versions of Batman across the multiverse. From dark, twisted nightmares to heroic reinventions that redefine what Batman means. These are the Batmen that prove why he's one of the most endlessly fascinating characters of all times. Let's go ahead and grab your grapple gun because we're about to go multiversal. First up, we have Red Rain Batman from Batman and Dracula Red Rain in 1991. This book was by Doug Monick and Kelly Jones. And so we're going to kick this list off with one of the most gothic, horrifying versions of Batman ever, Red Rain Batman. In this Elseworlds classic, Batman faces off against none other than Dracula himself. And in a desperate move to defeat him, Bruce becomes a vampire. Yep, the Dark Knight becomes an actual creature of the night. But what makes this version so haunting is how Bruce continues to fight for Gotham, even as his humanity slips away. He drinks the blood of criminals to survive, struggles with his monstrous urges, and ultimately sacrifices himself to protect the city. It's tragic, poetic, and visually stunning. A perfect blend of superhero and horror. This story showed us that Batman can thrive even in a gothic horror and still be terrifyingly horrific. Next, we have Batman of Earth 22, also known as the Batman Who Laughs. And this was from Dark Knight's Metal in 2017, written by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. So you can't talk about alternate Batman without mentioning the Batman Who Laughs. He's the nightmare fusion of Batman and the Joker, created when Bruce is infected by the Joker toxin after killing him. The result? A sadistic, genius level monster with all of Batman's intelligence and all of the Joker's chaos. What makes him so disturbing is that he wins. On his world, he wipes out the Justice League, conquers everything, and becomes one of the most terrifying villains in DC history. The Batman Who Laughs is not just a villain, he's a dark reflection of what happens when Batman finally snaps. Next up, we have Flashpoint Batman, also known as Thomas Wayne. And this was from the 2011 comic Flashpoint by Jeff Johns and Andy Kubert. In the world of Flashpoint, it's not Bruce who becomes Batman, it's his father, Thomas. After witnessing young Bruce's death, Thomas dons the cape and cowl, turning Gotham into his personal war zone. He's older, angrier, and just doesn't hold back. This Batman uses guns, kills criminals, and runs a casino to fund his war on crime. But beneath that brutal exterior is a grieving father, one who fights not for justice, but for the impossible, a chance to rewrite history and save his son. Thomas Wayne's Batman isn't just a great Elseworld. He's one of the most emotionally powerful reinventions of the character ever written. And next up, we have Batman Beyond, also known as Terry McGinnis. This is from the 2012 to present DC Rebirth era Batman Beyond comic, written by Dan Jurgens. So even though most fans know Batman Beyond from the animated series, Terry McGinnis' story has evolved beautifully in the comics. Set decades in the future, Bruce Wayne has retired, but Gotham still needs a Batman. entered Terry, a street smart kid who takes up the mantle under Bruce's mentorship. The comics expand the lore with new villains, deeper emotional arcs, and even conflicts with older heroes. What makes Terry's Batman great is that he's not just copying Bruce, he's redefining what Batman means for a new era. He's the perfect bridge between legacy and evolution. And next up, we have Batman from the White Knight universe, or the Jack Napier Batman. This is from the comic Batman White Knight by Sean Murphy. So this version of Batman is set in an alternate Gotham where the Joker, now cured of his insanity, becomes Jack Napier and exposes Batman's brutality to the public. The twist in this world, Batman isn't the clean-cut hero. He's a dangerously obsessed vigilante whose war on crime might actually be hurting Gotham. As the series unfolds, we see Bruce wrestle with accountability, class, and legacy, creating one of the most grounded, politically charged takes on Batman ever printed. The White Knight universe shows us a Batman forced to evolve or become the very thing he swore to fight. Next up, we have The Grim Knight from The Batman Who Laughs, The Grim Knight #1, 2019. This is by Scott Snyder and Eduardo Rizzo. Now imagine if on that fateful night in Crime Alley, Bruce picked up Joe Chill's gun and pulled the trigger. Well, that's the Grim Knight. This Batman uses every weapon, every tactic, and every dirty trick to wipe out crime in Gotham. He's part Punisher, part Batman, and all vengeance. He's the Batman that says, I don't have to hold back anymore. It's a fascinating commentary on Batman's moral code because the only thing separating him from the villains he fights is that one rule. Next, we have Batman of Zur-En-Arrh from Batman RIP in 2008. This was by Grant Morrison and Tony Daniel. The Batman of Zur-En-Arrh is wild. On the surface, he's a rainbow suited version of Batman from another world, but in Grant Morrison's run, he becomes something deeper. Bruce Wayne's psychological backup personality. When his mind is broken, Zur-En-Arrh emerges. Pure Batman without Bruce. When his mind is broken, Zur-En-Arrh emerges. Pure Batman without Bruce Wayne's emotional restraint. It's Batman in his rawest form, a man who's turned trauma into a shakable will. It's weird, brilliant, and totally Morrison. Next up, Speeding Bullets Batman from the comic Superman Speeding Bullets 1993. This was by J.M. DeMatteis and Eduardo Barreto. So, what if the baby from Krypton didn't land in Kansas, but landed in Gotham City instead? In Speeding Bullets, Kal-El is raised as Bruce Wayne, grows up traumatized by his parents' murder, and uses his Kryptonian power to become Batman. This version explores what happens when absolute power meets Batman's trauma, and it's fascinating. The comic is short, but the idea of a Kryptonian Batman torn between vengeance and hope is pure Elseworlds gold. Next up, we have Batman from Gotham by Gaslight. From the comic Batman Gotham by Gaslight by Brian Augustine and Mike Mignola. So, set in the 19th century, Gotham by Gaslight drops Batman into a Victorian era Gotham, just as Jack the Ripper arrives to town. This story's brilliance lies in how seamlessly Batman's myth fits into this time period. The steampunk gadgets, gothic art, and detective noir tone create a version of Batman that feels both classic and completely new. It's the comic that kicked off the whole Elseworlds concept. And to this day, it's one of the most atmospheric and memorable alternate Batman ever created. And last up today, we have Batman The Dark Knight Returns, aka Old Man Bruce. This is from the 1986 comic The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. So come on, you knew it was coming. Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns isn't just one of the most important Batman stories, it's one of the most important comics of all time. Set in a grim future where Bruce has retired, this story brings him back for one last mission and shows us a brutal, uncompromising Batman who refuses to let Gotham die quietly. He's old, broken, and angry, but more determined than ever. This version redefined Batman for generations, influencing everything from Batman vs. Superman to the Arkham games. Miller gave us the definitive alternate Batman, one who proved that the legend never dies. It just evolves. So there you have it. The 10 greatest alternate versions of Batman across the multiverse, comic book edition. Each one represents a different aspect of the Dark Knight, the horror, the heroism, the tragedy, and the madness that makes him one of the most layered characters in comic book history. But what do you think? Did your favorite make the list, or did I miss one of your top picks? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the multiversal bat, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notified so that you never miss another deep dive. Until next time, I am Chip Hazard. This is Movement Radio. Stay nerdy. Peace.